The Solo Show is brought to you, as always, by Victor Naraki Realtor, serving Disney and the greater Orlando area with celebratingflorida.com and disneyatyourdoorstep.com. Coming up on The Solo Show.
I got the job, and I said, I don't think I can take it. I have a contract to start August 3rd on Fair Lady. And she said, oh, we'll be done way before then. So I did the job. Well, we weren't done way before then.
I was going to say famous last words.
Fair Lady? As in My Fair Lady? Wow, multiple Emmy winner Pete Menefee is our first-time guest host in the Solo Studios. To find out what job he was worried about finishing in time, you're just going to have to stick around. Victor Naraki would like to take this opportunity to thank all of his clients and customers for their support throughout the past year. Victor would like to remind all of you that this is the time for family and friends to come together and celebrate this joyful season in whatever form it takes for you and your loved ones. Be kind to each other in this festive season and the new year ahead. On behalf of The Solo Show and Victor Naraki, here's a wish for a safe, happy, and healthy new year. Broadcasting from the Solo Studios, somewhere on a dimly lit backlot in the middle of old Hollywood. Pardon me for waxing poetic. Here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, in the center of North America, on this little planet we call Earth, this is the Solo Show. Man, we got a good one. In fact, it's so good, we have to break it into 2 shows. So let me introduce to you Pete Menefee. He's a dancer and performer with credits such as Mary Poppins and My Fair Lady. Plus, he's a multiple Emmy-winning costume and stage designer. His resume reads like a who's who of Hollywood, and that's just the first part. So now, please welcome your host, a man who's no stranger to the terpsichorean art. Good word, right? As he danced Stormtrooper number 2 in the Star Wars Holiday Special. Here's Stan Solo.
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Solo Show. I am Stan Solo as always, and today we are welcoming to the podcast Pete Menefee. He's an American dancer, including one of the chimney sweeps in Mary Poppins. Later in his life, Pete switched careers to become a costume and stage designer. He's worked in Hollywood since the 1960s. He's been nominated for 4 Emmy Awards, winning 3 times. Welcome to the show, Pete, and how are you today?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It is an absolute pleasure to have you here. I thought we'd start off. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up, things like that?
Sure. I was born in San Diego, California. My dad was a career Navy guy, and he taught pharmacy at the Hospital Corps School in San Diego. And so I grew up in San Diego and Hawaii. He was transferred to Hawaii. And so I was a beach kid until I was until we moved back until I was 10. And it was a great life. You know, we lived all over San Diego and on Oahu for several years. I love that.
Very cool. I'm assuming that San Diego and Hawaii is quite a bit different now than it was back then.
Yeah, absolutely. But the interesting thing about growing up in that situation was I saw movies a couple times, but I never saw stage shows. I never saw kids perform. And when I was 10, we had moved back to San Diego, and a girlfriend of mine asked me to come see her dance recital, and I went. And the minute I saw kids on stage dancing and singing, I thought, "Oh man, I want to do that. I can do that."
Oh, cool.
And it was a couple weeks before my 10th birthday, and I asked my folks for tap lessons, and I'm sure they thought it would be 3 or 4 lessons, and then I'd be on to something else. And it kind of wasn't. It was 6 years. And,
wow. Were they supportive this whole time when you were wanting to take tap and dance?
Yeah, they really were. They were not stage parents,
Okay.
and there was a lot of theater, regional theater in the late 50s and into the 60s, and so I started performing. I got my equity card when I was 14. I was little for my age and looked younger, so I played kids mostly.
Mm.
I did Peter Pan. I played John, the older brother, and Peter Foy flew me. And I would work later on in my career, my second career. I would work with Peter a great deal. It was wild, but
So for people that don't know, Peter Foy, he does a lot of the aerial
He did
theatrics,
all the
wire
special
work.
aerial flying for Mary Martin on Broadway originally,
Hmm.
and then he had gotten so good at it that he was kind of the only one who did it. He was the go-to guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think his company's still in production, I believe, that he
Could be.
started. I
It
believe
could
so.
be.
Yeah.
I still talk to Tara Foy, who I think is his one of his daughters.
Hmm.
I'm not sure,
Hmm.
but
Very cool. So you said you got to see some movies and all that. Did you have any like idols growing up from the
no,
movies?
I saw very few movies. The
Okay.
only thing growing up that really interested me was my mom taught me to read when I was 3,
Wow.
and I started drawing at 3 too. And I would see a Disney movie,
Hmm.
and I learned to read on Disney comic books. I would see Disney movies, and I'd come home and I'd draw all the characters,
Oh,
and
wow.
I'd make little theaters, and then
Mhm.
that was playtime for me. But it was also kind of a dress rehearsal for what my life was going to be like.
Yeah,
It
no
was
kidding.
it was wild, yeah, very circular.
So you mentioned that you took tap lessons. Did you take any other type like ballet or
Oh
or
God,
anything?
yeah. I hated ballet. I worked with San Diego Civic Light Opera,
Mhm.
and you had to take ballet from the choreographer Marguerite Ellicott to be in the shows, and so I had probably 2 years of ballet under my belt, but I didn't like it. I wasn't very good at it. In fact, I was working at Old Globe Theater. I did a lot of work there in San Diego,
Mhm.
and I was appearing in The Matchmaker, which became Hello Dolly. It's the
Okay.
Thornton Wilder play that Hello Dolly's based on. And a gentleman came backstage one evening and said he had looked at the program, and it said that I had appeared in 2 reviews at Old Globe Theater called Caught in the Act, and that I danced and sang. And the guy introduced himself and said he was casting a movie version of West Side Story, and he said, "There's a part you're perfect for,
Oh,
and I'd like Jerome Robbins and Robert Wise to see you." And I didn't know who any of those people were, and I couldn't drive. My dad drove me up to Hollywood,
hmm.
and I don't know what I thought it was going to be, but I walked into a room with 300 guys.
Oh my gosh.
I was 147. And I was near the beginning of the auditions. I was one of the first trios, and he gave us a ballet combination. And I was awful at it. And he cut me right away.
Yeah.
And the casting guy walked over and talked to him, and he said, "No, no, the blonde kid, come on back in." And he said, "Okay, let's try it again." Well, in a minute and a half, I hadn't improved a whole lot. So he walked over and he said, "How long have you danced?" And I said, 6 years. And or 5 years then.
Mhm.
And he said, well, what kind of dancing did you do? And I said, tap. I took tap lessons. And I didn't know Jerry Robbins. I didn't know who Jerry Robbins was, but I certainly didn't know that he loathed tap dancers.
Boy, you're
So
just striking out left, right, and center here.
I'm telling you, God, it was one after another. And then so for the rest of the audition, he kept me all the way through for
Okay.
the rest of the audition. And I was good at doing the jazz.
Mhm.
That I could do.
Mhm.
But every time he'd put me in a position of using three of us or four of us, he'd say, where's the tap dancer? Put the tap dancer in front. And I didn't realize he was being nasty to me. I was 15 years old. I didn't give a shit. And so the 15-year-old tap dancer got in front and did his damnedest. And then I read for Robert Wise, who was very nice. And they said, we'll call you. And I sat by the phone for a couple of months.
Oh my gosh.
And finally, just before August, when I was going back to school, I was a sophomore. They called and they said, we're not using you for the movie, but we'd like you to go into the national company to replace Elliot Feld, who did get the movie. And my mom had died the year before. And I talked to my dad, and he said, no, you have to finish school first. And I want you to do a year of college. And so I promised my dad I'd do that. And
So you didn't
they
take the part
called,
then?
they called every year.
Okay, wow.
And I finished my first year of college. And I'd gone to parochial school, so I had a really good education. And in high school, when I was a sophomore, Sputnik went up. So I doubled in languages. I was taking Spanish, but I started taking Russian. So I had 3 years of Russian before I graduated.
Wow.
And it became my major. Slavics was my major in college, and political science was my minor.
Mhm.
I wanted to be a diplomatic interpreter.
That
And
didn't work out very well.
we know how that one
Yeah,
worked
that
out.
didn't work out very well. Do
Yeah.
you remember the first time you were paid to do a dance
Yeah, I was 14 when I did summer stock, and
on stage?
and yeah, and it was great. I mean, a 14-year-old kid making almost $300
Wow.
a week.
Yeah.
It was great, and I started at 14. I worked every summer in summer stock, and really until 1965. I did West Side the last time.
Okay.
But, in my teen years from 14 on, I was functioning like an adult. I bought my own first car. I bought my own clothes. I paid for my college tuition the first
Wow.
year,
Yeah.
because I was making money.
hmm
And it was great. It was really great. And it was a good chance to learn early how to handle money and not blow it.
So this was like 1965, you said. So Mary Poppins came out in 1964. So you must have done Mary Poppins while doing this then.
Oh, well, I did summer stock all the time.
Okay.
And Mary Poppins was in 63, I think.
Yeah, you would have been filming in 63. Yeah.
Yeah, I turned 21 that year.
Okay.
And that was wild because I had through doing summer stock, I had gotten an agency, the Shipley Ishimoto agency in Hollywood, and Mr. Shipley was my agent, and he called and said, "I have an audition for you next week for the movie of My Fair Lady," and I said, "Oh, great," and I said, what would I be auditioning for? And he said, George Cukor just wants to look at people for types and tell them you're English. They only want English people in the movie. And I thought,
that Russian accent will come in handy now.
Konechna. So the day came when I had to audition for Cuker, and walked on the Warner lot, and the guard showed me where stage 7 was. And I walked back to 7, and I could see a ring of people sitting in chairs by the load-in door outside. And I walked up, and the closer I got, it dawned on me it was a read through of the movie with every actor that was in it.
Oh,
Audrey
wow.
Hepburn, Rex Harrison, Mona Washburn, everybody. And Cuker was sitting there. And I saw a guy standing off to the side, and I figured he must be the AD. And I told him I was here to interview with Cuker. And so after a bit, he walked me over to Cuker, who was sitting between Rex Harrison and Audrey Hepburn. And he started asking me questions about what I had done. And, by that time, I'd done a couple of movies. I'd done Bye Bye Birdie. I'd done Viva Las Vegas. And, I had done West Side like 5 times.
Okay.
I'm all over the place. And he said, "Are you English?"
Here's where we find out if Pete tells the truth or
And
not.
I thought, oh my God, I can't say I'm English with Rex Harrison 4 feet away from me. They'll kick my ass off the lot. And so I lied, and I said my mom was English and my dad was in the service. And that kind of squeaked me by.
Okay.
But and then the next day, I got a phone call from a friend of mine I'd been in West Side with, and he said, "I'm assisting Mark Bro and Dee Dee Wood at Disney Studios, and they want dancers, and you're perfect for it because you can tumble. They want guys who can do acrobatics." And I said, what is it? And he said, well, it's based on a bunch of English children's books about Mary Poppins. And so I said, okay. And I showed up at Disney the 2 days after and auditioned. And at the end of the dance audition, they took each of us aside and said, show us what kind of tumbling you can do. And we all did our round offs and flip flops and stuff. And I got the job, and I went to Dee Dee and I said, I don't think I can take it. I have a contract to start August 3rd on Fair Lady. And she said, oh, we'll be done way before then. So I did the job. Well, we weren't done way before then.
I was going to say famous last words.
And the last week I was there, on Monday I went to Dee Dee and I said, look, next Monday I have to be at Warner Brothers. I have a contract. And she said, oh, that's okay. All we have to shoot is the interior of the house. We had the first thing that we shot was us leaving the house and tumbling down the street.
There's quite a few chimney sweeps in that scene. It seems like there's more
12.
there than there is. I counted way more than 12 when I was looking at it, but it could be. I'm not sure if they did some editing.
There are very few sections where all of us are in it.
Yeah.
And the things were broken down really according to who could do what.
Yeah.
But anyway, I told Dee Dee said, you can leave after Friday. All we have to shoot is the interior. And I said, great. So I talked to the other guys and I said, don't tell Julie I'm going to Fair Lady, because I knew it was a problem with her. She had kind of talked to us jokingly about not being hired for it, but I knew it was a touchy subject.
Yeah.
And somebody told her.
Oh, bugger.
And on Thursday, I was going into makeup and she was coming out, and she walked by me and she didn't look at me, but she said, you effing traitor.
Get out. Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, I almost died. And I thought, God, I've got 2 more days to work with her, and she feels that way. And I kind of lived through it. But then when I went over to Warner Brothers and started working, the first thing we did was pre-record. And I only did one number and the reprise in the movie. I did Wouldn't It Be Loverly? And Julie, no,
Audrey.
I get them mixed up. Audrey at that point was doing her own singing. And one day we were working with Hermes Pan, the choreographer, and he was blocking the number, and we were working to the track that we had done. And we did it like 3 times, and Audrey was learning her blocking. And the third time he put it on, he put the Broadway recording on. And it starts with 2 of the costermongers singing. And I thought, God, that's not Ben's voice. And then I heard Julie's voice. And Audrey didn't realize at first that he had put the Julie Andrews recording of Fair Lady on. And she was lip syncing to it for like 12 bars. And all of a sudden it dawned on her what he had done. And she just walked off set.
I think there was a bit of rivalry between Julie Andrews and Audrey Hepburn at this time.
Well, it wasn't really a rivalry. Julie was not even really considered for the movie because she'd never done a movie.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and Audrey was trying her damnedest to sing it and do everything. She took lessons and she sounded great. I mean, I did recording with her, so she sounded good. But they were. I think people kind of made up a kind of rivalry between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
But they were both touchy about it. I mean,
obviously,
I was around for all of that, and they broke us for lunch that day, and we
tried again later on.
Yeah, when we came back, she apologized for walking off.
Yeah,
and she was great. They were both great to work with. Yeah. Really great.
Other than calling you a traitor.
Oh, an effing traitor.
Effing traitor.
I mean, Mary Poppins. Julie has a pretty good vocabulary. She really does.
Oh, wow. The chimney sweep scenes on the rooftops, how many days did that take?
Oh, it took a couple of months.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's, first of all, they had to choreograph it and figure out what it was. So they had built a stage, a floor that you could dance on and tumble on without hurting yourself on the back lot with a tent over the top. It's in the San Fernando Valley, summers are very, very hot. And we were allowed to rehearse in bathing suits and T-shirts.
Oh, nice.
And sneakers, yeah. When
it gives a whole new impression of the look of the Mary Poppins chimney sweep.
It looked like a beach party movie on plywood. And
this is at the Disney studio lot, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's on the back lot of Disney. And all of the things that you see that we ran up and tumbled down and stuff, all the rooftops and stuff, were all built out of plywood, and they were all on casters with lock off because they didn't know what the set was going to be like until they set the number. And we tried a couple of things that didn't work. I mean, there was one steep roof, and Dee Dee Wood, one of the 2 choreographers, Dee Dee said, who thinks they can do cartwheels down the roof? And we were all going, me, I can do it. So about 3 or 4 of us got up on it, and we did one cartwheel, and we went on our ass. It was too steep. And we just slid down, and Dee Dee just said, well, I guess we won't be doing that one in the movie. But all of as they set the movie, they could move the set pieces around. So by the end of rehearsal, by the end of knowing what we were doing, the set was kind of established. And the very best thing about doing that movie was Walt was still alive, and
Yes.
he came to the set, to our rehearsals every day,
Oh, wow.
and
Every day. Okay.
every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And we all had our name tag on, and we were told to call him Walt, that he didn't like to be called Mr. Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'd be sitting there and Walt could say, Pete, do you get scared when you're working between the buildings? It was incredible. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was just unbelievable. He was like a god to me, and he was
Yeah.
so nice. And 2 weeks before filming, the director Stevenson wanted to cut the number.
No
He
way.
did.
It's such an
He
iconic
did.
number.
He did. He said it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't move the plot forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had Disney of a Disney photographer come in, and we ran the whole number, stop and go,
Mm-hmm.
and filmed it so they could see what the number was going to be like. And
Hmm.
that's on now. All of that is on the Blu-ray, on the extras.
Okay.
You see us all in swim trunks and stuff, but that was taken by Disney photographers, and it was to prove to them that it was a viable number,
Hmm.
that it
Well,
would be interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
And then in July, during my birthday, July 2nd, we filmed. We filmed the exterior of the Banks house first,
Mhm.
tumbling down the street, and then we went to the rooftop set, and we worked on the rooftop almost 3 weeks. And the first we tumbled down the street until lunch break all morning. And then we went on the rooftop and we did all of the dangerous things, jumping into the chimneys, tumbling between two rooftops.
Mhm.
And the rooftop was 10 feet off the floor.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Are they on wires when they do
No.
that?
Oh, well, the three guys who do flip flops are on wires because
Okay.
you see them catch themselves by their feet.
Feet. Yeah.
And they could never do. I mean, we were all
Yeah.
pretty good, but nobody could do that. But I'm one of the guys that does cartwheels and handstands on both of the buildings.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
I'm the one closest to camera. And,
Mhm.
if you fell, you'd fall on your face 10 feet to the stage floor.
Oh my gosh. How was Dick Van Dyke? Because he was basically one of the
He
sweeps in
was
this.
he was fabulous. And, the whole number was built. Mark and Dee Dee built that whole number around the way he moved.
Mm-hmm.
Because he moves great. And you just mentioned wires. The thing where we link elbows and swing Dick out
Yeah.
over the. Okay, he was on one wire on his hip to do that. And the first time we did it, it broke, and he fell into the building.
Holy crap.
And if Phil was just linked arms with him, if Phil hadn't held on to him, he would have gone down 10 feet.
Oh my gosh. I never heard that before. Wow.
Yeah. And he was so game. They rigged it again, and he did it like 3 more times, which is what you see. But the thing that I started to tell you was we did all this hard, dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
And we came in on Tuesday, and Dee Dee said, "Before you go into makeup, sit down. I need to talk to you." And we sat, and she said, "The film yesterday was all scratched.
What?
And we have to shoot it again."
So that's
And
so
I
this
went,
is like what, July
"Whoa."
third now? Or
Oh my God. And it was all the hard stuff. And she said, "Now you guys vote." She said, "You can either vote to do it today and get it over with, or we can put it off till Friday or next week."
Mhm.
And we all decided to do it that day.
Yeah, get it over
Yeah. Yeah, because I used to have nightmares about jumping into the chimney.
with. Well, I'm assuming the
Because
chimney was just a half circle, not a full
No, no, no. We dance on
Oh,
it
the
at
top
first.
part,
We
but the
just
part where they jump up and go down into it and bounce out of it, that can't be a.
well, that shot in reverse. That was a separate setup,
Okay.
and we stood. In fact, there's a still of it with us with our left leg in a back attitude,
Hmm.
and we're holding the broom in front of us.
Okay.
And what we did was we started in back attitude, and then we jumped into the chimney, and they ran it backwards, so it looks like we pop out of the chimney and land on one foot.
Yeah. Movie magic.
Yeah,
Very
but
cool.
jumping into it was really scary. And if you're counting, there aren't that many. There aren't 12 chimneys. I think there were
Yeah.
8 of us
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
And each of us had our own guy under the chimney because the chimney was a flat surface with a trap door on it.
Okay.
And we danced on it hard, and then we did split jumps 3 times, and on the third split jump we touched our toes and then tucked and fell into the chimney, and which had been trapped. The third time we touched our toes, the guys released the
Trap.
chimney opening.
Yeah.
And I used to have nightmares. I don't have a big chin, but I used to have nightmares that I had clipped everything on my face, my chin, my teeth, my nose,
Oh my gosh.
going down.
Okay.
So, after the first day that we shot, that was the first really good night's sleep I had. And then to come in the next morning and find out we had to do it again, I thought, oh my God.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise, surprise.
Oh.
But it was a lot. It was a lot of fun. But it took a long time
Yeah.
to shoot.
Well, you know what? Kids still watch it to this day. It's
Yeah.
it's iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody sent me something that just killed me. It was a picture of their 2 little kids, and they had a big screen TV, and the kids were dancing in front of
There
it.
you go. Yeah.
And it just,
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
it's that's going to happen for a long time, I think.
You mentioned Bye Bye Birdie. You mentioned Viva Las Vegas, and we talked about Mary Poppins. You did several other Elvis movies.
I did four others. I did 5 altogether. And in Birdie, I'm the kid who can't get a date, whose voice cracks, Harvey Johnson.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and
Very neat.
yeah, and I love doing the Elvis things. He was very nice to
Yeah.
work with, very nice, and very unlike anything you'd expect him to be. He was a real Southern gentleman,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was ma'am and sir, and he had a great work attitude. He always knew everything. He always knew his blocking once he learned it.
Mm-hmm.
He never messed around. He was very
I
professional.
was just going to say a true professional.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd expect that from a Julie Andrews or a Rex Harrison
Mhm.
or an Audrey Hepburn. You think Elvis Presley, you
A
think,
rock and
oh
roll
my
singer.
God, he's a loose cannon,
Yeah.
and he wasn't at all.
Yeah.
He wasn't at all. He was great. He was great to work with.
Excellent. You also worked with Goldie Hawn's film debut with the one and only genuine original. What is it? The one and only genuine original family band.
Right, that was my last film, and that was a Disney film
Mhm.
too. Disney had died by then, but Goldie, I knew Goldie when we were both dancers,
Okay.
and her first. In fact, I was at her first wedding dinner. She married Gus Triconis, who was in the movie of West Side Story, one of the sharks. And Gus was a friend, and Goldie was a friend. We were all dancers together, and then years later, that was her first step out, was a family band.
Yeah.
And
And for people that are Disney fans that haven't watched it, they should check it out. It's actually quite an interesting movie.
oh, I think it's a great movie. And I love the Sherman Brothers music in it.
Yeah.
I really do. And it was a lot of fun to work with.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So this whole time you're doing these movies, you're also doing stage, I'm guessing?
Yeah. Hmm.
Very.
Yeah, I was doing I did stock up until my last stock job was doing Baby John again in West Side in 1965, and I had started doing it in 1959, I guess.
Okay. So if the last movie was the one and only genuine original family band, that came out in 1968, I'm assuming at this point you're starting to rethink your career?
Oh, yeah. I even earlier than that.
Okay.
I just said I did West Side again when in '65, and when they hired me again to do Baby John, and I thought, God, I'm too old for all this juvenile stuff,
Mhm.
and now. And they talked me into doing it. And, I mean, it was a good job, so I took it.
Yeah.
But I look at pictures now, and I still did look like I was in my teens.
Yeah.
But I knew by that time I could figure out that I had had a good run. But, I wasn't going to be able to do kids and teens my whole life. I mean,
You only
nobody
do-
was going to hire a 35-year-old teenager.
You can only do the beach blanket bingo movies or the Elvis
Right.
movies for so long.
I did beach party movies too.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Pajama Party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got a
And
young, good-looking blonde kid. That's what they're looking for, and if you can act, and
that's
dance,
right.
and sing, yeah,
I was a California kid.
yeah, yeah,
They couldn't have cast me better.
yeah.
But by about 25, I could see the writing on the wall. And I was an okay dancer, but I wasn't one of the tall, good-looking guys that were going to dance with Mitzi Gaynor and Juliette Prowse. Although I danced with Juliette Prowse in stock, but in nightclub acts and stuff, I wasn't.
Hmm.
I didn't look like that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out what kind of a future I was going to have. And I tried auditioning for older roles, and I never got them. And I thought, well, how long am I going to have to hang around until I look old enough to do these?
Hmm. Yeah.
And so I was looking for stuff to do. I worked for a while. I worked as an assistant choreographer at MGM Studios.
Okay. Yeah,
At
but
the
that's
very,
often, yeah,
the very,
choreography would make sense. Yeah.
yeah, and I choreographed.
Hmm.
I choreographed a show for Dick Clark for 2 years called Where the Action Is. That was a contemporary show. It was all rock and roll, and I could do it, but I didn't really like it,
Hmm.
and
So it's around this.
in fact,
So it's around this time you start taking night courses, correct?
yeah, and that all happened very strangely too, because a friend of mine who was a designer, Tony Urbano,
Hmm.
who worked for Sid and Marty Krofft, saw some drawings I'd done, split pen and ink drawings, and he said, "Did you draw those?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "You should work as a sketch artist." And I said, "What does a sketch artist do?" I'd been in the business all those years. I thought designers all did their own drawing,
Yeah.
And he explained to me that a lot of the very famous ones. Edith Head
Hmm.
used sketch artists,
Okay.
and they would tell the artist what they wanted. You would do either a rough, which they called a croquis. You do a rough, and if they okayed it, you would do a finished sketch, and then they'd okay it, and very often sign it as if it were their work. Well, which it kind of was,
Hmm.
and so I started, and he hired me the next weekend to work for the Crofts to draw.
Okay, I'm gonna pause you there.
Okay.
We're gonna stop this here. We'll be back in 2 weeks to finish this interview, and we'll hear about Peter's. Sorry, is it Peter? I guess Pete.
Pete.
Yeah, Pete.
Yeah.
His second career, and so tune in 2 weeks' time. We're gonna finish this conversation. Then, Pete, you're okay to come back, right?
Sure.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So we'll see you all in 2 weeks, and we're going to finish this up. We'll hear about his second career. If you thought his first career was amazing, just wait till you hear what's coming. Ken, take us away.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to take your turn in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. Tell us about your idea for a show and we'll contact you about a date and a time for you to join us. If you would just like to keep the conversation going or have a comment about a previous show, then visit us on Facebook at The Solo Show. Don't forget to join us on YouTube, like us and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll never miss a new show. All logos, songs, music, and sounds that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned by the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be owned by the Solo Show podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.